know what they say. If you fail, try again. That's what August is going to be for me. What's going on? Trying to get back in the swing of things here. July, started a booktube. Goal of 3 books. It was the busiest kind of month of my entire year, which might not have been the greatest idea, but I got through 2 books and got a good majority of the way. I think I'm like 70% through an audiobook. So that'll be on my August TBR, but trying to do this video, just go over the 2 books I did read and my TBR for August. So we'll start there. First book I read was The Devil's Joe Abercrombie. I did do like a whole solo video pretty much, and then like a quick TBR update on this, but not a great book, not the book I like reading, and would not recommend to friends, family, or really anyone else. Unless like you describe the exact vibe that it is, but I don't have very many people in my life that I would be like, this is the Joe Abercrombie book you should read first. Definitely not on the list there. Now, a book I haven't talked about yet has been Hyperion, which I went into, ironically, it's only like just under 500 pages. I went into it ironically being like, man, I want to read this classic, and then I really want to get back into like horror books, because I went and bought like Come With Me by Ronald Malfi, and I have that whole Stephen King side as well. So I was like, oh, once I finish this, like we'll take a dip back into horror. And I didn't know that this is a sci-fi book, but man, is there some scary things in this book. Overall, like no spoilers, I loved this book. Like it's really, really good. I would give it 4.25 out of 5. What didn't work for me is this is such like a, I haven't read that many books sort of complaint. This is like a 500-page book, almost, what is it? Like 475 or 480 with like the epilogue and everything. There's 6 chapters, so I really enjoy like a 15 to 20 page chapter where it's like I completed something and it's like a good pause point. It's hard when there's multiple chapters in this book that are like 120 pages and you're like slogging through, and it's hard to be like, oh, I completed something, especially in this case where they're kind of, it's a story that's moving forward and like we know what's going on, but at the same time a lot of it's just individual stories for 6 chapters where they're like completely disconnected from one another for the most part. And so it gets hard to like, I want to sit there and complete it, but I don't have the time. And then it's like, oh, I'm not really into this chapter, but I have 55 more pages of this chapter, which only happened to me once in this. If I would rank the chapters, I do think the first chapter was complete like nightmare fuel. I won't spoil anything going on there because that was unbelievable. Like that completely sold me on this book. And then the final chapter where it kind of all wrapped up and we got really what's going on with the whole story leading into the future books in the series, which I didn't know this was actually a series, which might tell you that I literally did 0 research. Overall, loved it. Really, there was just one chapter I didn't enjoy, and I think it was one of the shorter ones, so it wasn't too bad, but it was like a week before my wife went on a trip, so then I was like, when my wife went on a trip, I didn't get to read because I was watching the kids, really. And then I went on my trip, and then I just finished the whole thing on my like flight, and I got to the place a little early before everyone else, so I just read the entire time and finished the book on the 31st. But overall, really liked the book. Just liked one chapter, not because it was bad or like offensive to me or anything like that. It was just like I didn't care about that character. I just didn't care about him at all, and it was just like did weird turns for no reason. It didn't feel very important to this book. Now, the rest of the series, I imagine, because this kind of felt like just kind of a setup to the following books, you know? But I really liked it. If anyone wants to hear me talk like individual chapters, break through the chapters, because there's only 6, let me know in the comments. But I really liked it. I plan on reading the second book, but it wasn't so like knock me out of the park that like I have to pick up the next one to know what's going on, because it's like a cliffhanger, but nothing really happens to the bigger story. It's a lot of just like a big introduction for the most part. But overall, loved it. And then what I got about 60% of the way through was Kingdoms of Death, Christopher Rocchio, book 4 of Sun Eater. Still working through that for this month of August, but overall really like it. And the other thing I worked on reading was 20th Century Boys, Volume 2. I'm so sad that I only got like I got through 2 chapters of like 11, which is not that many, but it's like 50 pages of 400 pages of manga, because I really liked the first 40 pages. I just haven't gotten back to it yet, but we'll see where we go there. But that's definitely on my have to finish this month. So what right there, that's 1 here. The Kingdoms of Death, what was it? Yeah, something like that, by Christopher Rocchio. And then the third book I have to finish is The Failures by Benjamin Lyer. Just started this one like literally last night. I'm only 13 pages in. So far, I like it. I have no idea what's going on, which is kind of what I've heard about the story as a whole. Is it's really ambitious. I was looking through the Goodreads recommendation, or the Goodreads reviews, and it was a lot of like, this was really ambitious, and some people really liked it, some people didn't. But I didn't see anything really in between. So this is book 3. The 4th book I already actually finished. I started it on the 1st, and I believe today is the 9th, and I finished it within the first 5 days of the month, which was Pines by Blake Crouch. Yes, which is part of the Wayward Pines. I know there's a TV show, which is very ironic because I got like 3/4 of the way through and I was like, this is very much like an M. Night Shyamalan like sort of book, and then I googled it and it was like, oh yeah, he turned it into a TV show. The big thing was with this book was I heard a recommendation for it, and I've always heard like really great things about like Dark Matter and his more like popular books, and I had never heard of this, and I was interested just based on the description, because I feel like every time I've heard about a Blake Crouch book, I've gotten too much of a description. They're short books because I like what I've heard. It's just like big twists, so it sounds really fun. And I really enjoyed Pines. I'm going to read the second one, but it's kind of the same thing where it was like definitely a 4-star book, somewhere in that range. And the ending I didn't necessarily love, but I'm interested to continue on. But like, if you're out there and you're like, I want a starting point that feels like kind of easy for Blake Crouch, because I know like he's got some super fans for like Dark Matter, and I can't something with an R, maybe a P. People love that book, but you want to kind of step in and try something you haven't heard anything, or haven't heard any sort of spoilers or anything like that. I think this is a good one, and if you don't want to commit to the entire series, I do think you get like a good enough story where you could just end it after the first book and not be like, I wonder what happens next. Like, the story very much continues, same characters, not saying like the main character dies off or anything like that, but like the story and what's going to happen is very different than what happens in book 1. So that's 4. And number 5 is the first book of the Dresden Files. I recommended this from one of the people on my trip. He was like, book 1 through 3 are really bad, but everything after that's really good. And it feels very like kind of like a light fantasy read that you can kind of mix in between, which is always what I've heard about the Dresden Files. So someone in real life telling me it was good, I should do it. I got it from the library, just on my Kindle, which is exciting. Which one's that one called? I think it's called Stormfront. Pew, 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 pew. Yes, Stormfront by Jim Butcher. I am about 75 pages in, just over like a quarter of the way through. Seems like a quick read. Something good. That's a big thing I'm trying to do now, is not buy too many books and get them from the library. So I got that from the library and just started it at the same time as I'm doing the failures. And then after that, I'm either going to do my physical copy of Ronald Malfi's Come With Me, which nice sort of short horror under 400 pages, or the other one, I do have it from the library as well because I thought it would be a longer wait, and then it's already on my Kindle, is Blackmouth. Blackmouth's the one that I've heard like the most about being like his best one, that feels like it's kind of like it by Stephen King. And that one's also not too long, under 500 pages, which I feel like is very doable, especially on a Kindle, where you don't have to like lug around the book or anything like that, and it's a little bit easier if like my wife falls asleep at night, I can not have to turn on all the lights and just read off this Kindle. So those are my goals. So that's six books. I'm gonna aim for at least 4, hoping for 5. If 6 happens, that'd be quite exciting. But let me know what you guys are reading. If you've read any of these, and tell me, like, get way ahead on this one, read this one, or any sort of recommendations I should think about going into September. Wow, it's already gonna be September next month. Awesome. Thanks for watching.